step is to know, to realize that you're in a sleeping state. The sleeping state, the robotic state. What does that mean practically? Your mother or your husband or your wife calls you something, calls you a name, all right? And you immediately, you react, you know, like an animal. You pop, you start exploding, you start shouting, that's not me, what do you think you're talking about? Shouting, just reacting. And every time they press that little button, same reaction. So you are on a robot program. You are not free. You are a slave in that perspective. Like Plato correctly said with the cave, that we are literally like slaves tied up in chains, looking at our shadows on the wall. We are stuck in certain mind patterns. Okay, so the practice of philosophy is to waken you from this sleep. The thing is that philosophy, as I said, over the years, unfortunately has become the domain of high academics in ivory tower universities, and it's lost its popularity. And my method is really to bring it back into the mainstream with 7 simple exercises that will get people started to awaken.
Which is your favorite book from ancient?
I love Epictetus, to Enchiridion, the Enchiridion of Epictetus. It's a Stoic book. It's a book about Stoicism.
Recognized as a representative of the Greek spirit.
My favorite statue, and I use it in my book actually, the charioteer in the Delphic Museum, Oiniochos, right? And it is part of the Alkistis method. I've included the charioteer because the charioteer as a sculpture is perfection. In terms of proportion and everything the Greeks represented, but it's what he symbolizes. It means to be the master, to take charge. That's why my book is called Take Charge. To take charge of the horses. You have a black horse and a white horse, and you are ethos. Pathos is the black horse and logos is the white horse, and you are commanding these 2 horses, your logic and your emotions, and you are one with your ethos. And Delphi in general is one of my favorite places to visit.
That would be my next question. I mean, what ancient Greek places would you find mostly inspiring?
Inspiring, well, to tell you, the Greeks built all their temples on specific land locations that were not by chance. So they're all very inspiring to go sit at. Well, I have a deep affinity with the Acropolis, of course, because firstly it's dedicated to a female goddess, the goddess Athena. I get inspired to sit in a temple dedicated to wisdom and a female goddess. They praised wisdom. Their god was wisdom. So how can it not be my favorite temple, the Acropolis, the most favorite? Because even there you have the view all the way to the sea, and you can just reach high levels of euphoria if you allow yourself there. One of the reasons I live in Greece is to be close to the Acropolis. It feeds me energy. It feeds me light. I feel that, and I wouldn't necessarily say in a metaphysical way. I think these things are all very natural. Human beings are inspired. I don't have to make up some, fairy tale about some transcendental something. It's very natural. We're human beings and we can be awe-inspired. And this is what those temples do, because as Goethe said, architecture is frozen music. So you can actually listen to the sound of the Acropolis. If you are silent enough, the Acropolis works like a musical instrument for your soul. It will set your soul, it will align your soul. If you're just open to that experience, opening to finding your harmony, you can have that with the Acropolis. And that's the reason I filmed there. All my videos for Alkistis TV are always around temples or the sea. I'm trying to, bring Greece through YouTube out outwards and give them a piece of this energy that you can feel. Yeah, I just want to invite people to go to my website, to download a summary of my method, to go to YouTube, to find my channel there, and to start, trying these exercises.
I think all this, because it's very original, like you said, the nature, it's so natural, like the Acropolis. I think it's because people need things that bring them back to their roots and the truth, because it's the truth there inside all this, I can say, chaotic, modern...
It gives you harmony. The proportions of the Acropolis and the proportions of the statues were made really in a way to harmonize us through the senses. The ancient philosophers had a whole section to do with aesthetics. Now, postmodern art tends to highlight ugliness and disharmony. It's provocative art. It's art that's meant to shock you. I believe art does need to serve the purpose of harmonizing human beings, elevating them, showing them what they can be. Well, the other thing I call self-expression. Self-expression, personal therapy, express your feelings, let people. But for me, that's not art. Art. And I'm a classicist in this, and I choose a side. For me, art is supposed to remind you of your perfection, your harmony, your beauty, your inner beauty. It's supposed to bring people up from disharmony and anxiety.
I will send you today one documentary. The name is Why Beauty Matters. Maybe you saw it's from the BBC production.
Yes, classical, harmonious, harmonia. What was overall the message was about harmony, proportion, in balance with nature. And these are the messages, the values that I stand by. And I don't care if I'm called old-fashioned or, classic. People who I admire have said that they have been inspired by these values. So, to each his own. Why don't we listen to classical music in schools? Why are we taught philosophy in such a boring way? And we don't get the essence of what philosophy is. So I'm sad to say that the school systems are now doing away with aristia, as if it's a sin to be excellent. And they foster mediocrity and lowering the level to the lowest common denominator. What is your advice to someone? My advice is to do my method. The main advice is check your thoughts. Check your thoughts and say, is this thought true? Or am I lying to myself about this? Am I dramatizing? Am I generalizing? Am I making up stories in my mind? Check yourself, because when you start living in truth, really energy will open up for you. Things will happen, positive things will happen. The more you're stuck in a lie or a dream, the more you will just keep bumping in and feeling pain. You'll just be random, living randomly. So check your thoughts, reflect on your thoughts. These 4 values, all of them, according to most of the classic philosophers, lead to eudaimonia. If you practice these 4 values, most people, they are so into lying and faking, even social media, people pretending to be someone they're not, giving an image of someone they're not. At the same time, are they happy? I would say not. So, for those looking for true happiness, living life according to these 4 virtues, which Socrates teaches, Aristotle teaches, Plato teaches in his own way, all of them lead to eudaimonia. So living life through areti, which is virtues in Greek, the virtues will get you to true happiness. So that's why I say it's an antidote for anxiety, stress, anger, because you only have to return to these values. which you will notice Christianity later adopted. The 4 cardinal values of Plato were adopted by early Christians. They added a few of their own and were seen as the antidote to the 7 deadly sins of greed, gluttony, rage, all the 7 sins, the 7 toxic behaviors. So Christianity basically borrowed these 4 virtues. And these 4 virtues lead to true happiness. Maybe not show-off happiness or the type of happiness that's going to impress your friends, but you will be truly happy. Or inner happiness, because in the end, as Shakespeare said, to thy own self be true. So these virtues will get you to happiness, guaranteed. If you practice this and make it a daily practice, you don't actually even need religion. In fact, many humanists and scientists are turning again to Greek philosophy. That's why Steve Jobs said, I would trade all my technology for an afternoon with Socrates. Steve Jobs. I would trade all my technology for an afternoon with Socrates. Or Reid Hoffman, the founder of LinkedIn, had said that reading Aristotle has given him more insights and more help in becoming a billionaire than his MBA. Because he says it helped him to think clearly. So it is an eternal system. All I've done is simplified it so that everyone can use it. They don't have to read all of Plato's works, which are huge, or Aristotle. I'm not saying they might not go after and read those, but my book, my method will open the door for them.
It was very nice what you shared.
Thank you for being open to my wild ideas. Oh, make no mistake, this is the beginning of a Hellenic Renaissance, I call it. The Hellenic Renaissance, which we can have now. There's a return to the Hellenic philosophy because of the vacuum that religion has left. And it's very appealing. It's like the Olympics. The Olympics is something international and universal, and it started in Greece, and in the same way we are going to be spreading Greek philosophy in a systematic manner. They can have a compass in life even without God.